Hi, it's Simone Stewart from Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. This program is aired on the Mercy and Truth Network. We go live on Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. your time. And on Mondays, we have our repeat at 3 p.m. local time or 4 p.m. within the environment. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. This program is about women, for women, and by a woman, based on my book Uniquely Me. You know, we women, we really ought to have an S on our chests because we're balancing motherhood, wife, ministry, corporate world, business, just so many things. And indeed, this is the place where we talk about the traumas, the trials, the struggles, and of course, our victories. On set with me today is a very good friend, Crystal Daye. Crystal, hi.
Hi, Simone.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure.
So good to have you, honey. So good.
Thank you.
So I want to tell our audience a little bit about you because, man, when I read this or when I researched, I was excited.
Thank you.
Two-time award-winning author, best-selling author as well, certified Christian life coach for life and business, woman after God's own heart, mother of Christian, international inspiration speaker, book publisher, kingdom entrepreneur, and what else? What else? What am I leaving out, Crystal?
I mean, honestly, I tell him I'm just a Jesus girl at heart. So whatever the Lord placed on my heart, I don't get tied down to rules. You know, there was a minister, all of these things. But the truth is, I'm just a Jesus girl at heart.
Yeah. You know what is funny, Crystal, is that you're a young girl. But
Thank you.
but it's a young girl for Jesus. And because that's one of the things when I go through social media and that kind of thing, it's a young girl for Jesus just it's like how I normally put it is that you and Jesus just wrap up.
Thank you. I do try.
But tell us a little bit about Crystal. What is it that our audience don't know? Because I mean, yes, you're in the space, but what do we not know about Crystal?
What is it that you don't know? That's a hard question because I do think I put a lot out there, but I kind of am really shy by heart. If I go anywhere, nobody would know who I am. I'll just stand there or just be there until somebody that probably know you. So I tend to be very reserved, and I don't think it's just false humility or anything. It's really and truly I just kind of always like to just look out my space and pray out the space. So that's something that people probably don't know readily.
I'm wondering too if a lot of persons know that you're a prayer warrior because that's one of the things I have noticed that, especially I think you were on a cruise or something,
Yes.
and there was a lot about prayer, and I think there's always something about prayer with you.
Wow.
What is it? What is it? Tell me, is there? How would I put it now? What's that link? What is it?
I've been told I'm a prayer warrior. I really just think I'm just communing with God. Because the truth is, in this flesh of ours, it's so easy for I don't know about anybody else, but I know because of my background and where I grew up, I know it's easy for me to want my own things. It's easy for me to be a go-getter and just go after it. And if I'm not continuously communing with the Holy Spirit, then the self will just arise. So I find that I don't see it as a prayer warrior. I just seeing it as a continuous communication with God, because He's not just God for me. He's my Father. He's my friend. He's my lover.
Yeah.
And then also I believe that intercession is probably one of the most important thing that we do as believers.
Yeah.
Because you really and truly don't know what anybody is going through. So whatever space I'm in, and that's why I'm proud to say I'm a Christian life coach.
Yeah.
I'm very bold about my faith because I know that whatever space I'm in, I command that space because of the power of God that lives in and through me.
Yeah.
So I don't know the priority. I just know that I'm called to commune with the Holy Spirit and have a relationship with Him, so that I can always represent Him.
Amen. Well, tell us about, because you said based on where you're from. Tell us about where you're from. Where did you grow up?
All right, so I was born in Maxfield Avenue, Berwick Road, and I lived in Kenkot for a few years. Grew up, I won Miss Kenkot. I was like
Right.
the girl at Miss Kenkot, right? I was the girl. Then I moved to Arnett Gardens, we're called Jungle, for a few years. And to be honest, I would say, growing up in Maxfield, my father was very strict. So it means that I didn't go outside to play. I tell people I can't ride bicycle right now, and they laugh at me like, what? I'm like, listen, my father would not allow me to go outside to play. We could not afford to have our own bicycle. I stay in, I read books. I remember at probably grade 1, I could say from my 2 to 10 timetable at 6 years old, because that's all my father would let me do, study. And then, but that you're in primary school, so you don't know that you're poor. If you understand what I mean.
Yes.
You know that you don't have a lot of things. You know that you don't go home and tell your parents that you have a trip, because you know that they don't have it. My father made furniture, as a furniture, I'm a carpenter. My mommy at the time, did odd jobs until she started work as a security guard. They have 4 children.
Yes.
Like, that you don't have it. But when I started high school and I went to the Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha, and then now you are now in this space and you see people driving cars and you see it, you're like, okay, what's happening here? And then, I went to school I remember first year, I had 1 uniform for the whole year. No, if you know Krista is very lazy. To wash my one every day, I have to go home to wash that uniform. I remember at one point, my shoe, my uncle, I think, bought a shoe for me, and it was so small, but I had no other choice than to wear the shoe that tight, because it was really hard. I remember even graduating from high school, and I got the top girl in the school that year.
Wow.
I got 6 9 6s, 6 1s, 2 2s, and a 3, and it was really a big thing. And I went to the office and they say, Miss Daye, we're so proud of you, but you can't graduate.
Wow.
And I know it's not that my parents wouldn't want to.
So,
it's just truly they could not. So that's just growing up, just knowing lack. But what I would always say is that I thank God for my parents, because they always told me education is the only way out of the inner city.
Right.
That's the truth. It's either you find a rich man that will take care of you, and then I grew so independent, it means that I would have to get education as my way out. I remember living in Jonestown. So I grew up in Maxfield, Kenkot. While it's fairly inner city areas, it wasn't as bad as when I moved to Jonestown. I remember a particular day, one of the most threatening days of my life. I was coming from school in sixth form, and apparently that day the war started a little bit earlier. So normally start at 6, you can get home, and it was like 2-3 o'clock. And when the taxi let me off on the road, there was just bare gunshot. You see the men them, and I thought that this was it. And then a gentleman saw me and said, "Oh yeah, miss my granddaughter, come here and carry me in the pathway," and just kind of cover my head and shut a fire non-stop. And I remember just looking and I'm saying, there's no way that this is going to be my life. I don't want this to be my life.
Wow.
Wow. So it's an interesting childhood, but again, you just didn't know. My siblings and I are very, very close,
Right.
so that made life easier because we dream a lot. We spend a lot of time dreaming.
Oh my God. Thank you for that, Crystal. Welcome again. If you're just tuning in, it's Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. And on set, I have Crystal Daye with me, and Crystal is sharing her life, her early childhood days, and of course, the whole battle with crime and violence. Now, Crystal, we have a lot in common because I'm from Flankers in Montego Bay.
Oh.
And so the truth is, it probably got worse after I left in my adult years, but I can identify I can identify with wearing one shoe. And I remember there was a time when I thought my foot was deformed because my mom had nothing. She was actually a single parent, and there were six of us. So that trying to, but what kept us was church.
Okay.
Was church. And as you said, for me it wasn't just a dream, but it was a mindset. And so as I went through your page, I had to write this question, and and literally I want to read it to you. Here's my question: how does one whose reality is that of poverty maintains a mindset that they have a royal reality?
Oh, wow. All right. So let me fast forward before I answer that question. So the truth is, while I was very driven, I was very self motivated. My parents didn't have to. I was very self motivated. I knew after high school I was going to go to college to get. If I don't get anything in this life, I needed a degree. That was hands down.
Yeah.
But of course, the part of growing up in the inner city, as educated as I was, there were certain cultural things that party, and like I partied nonstop. I'd be going to college, but I would be partying.
Yeah.
The promiscuity, of course, you didn't know it was promiscuity because you didn't know Christ. I mean, I was exposed to church 1 and 2 times, but not. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. You pray because you pray, but it's not anything serious.
Yeah.
So while I was driven to achieve the things of the world, I needed to get my parents out of the inner city. I needed to help my brothers and sisters. I was very driven. The truth is, I didn't know that having sex, it was wrong to have sex before marriage. I didn't know marriage was not even a part of it.
Right.
I knew that I was going to get one child. I was going to get one child, and like that's my vision, goal. Just get one child, and I'll be rich and rich. Well, not necessarily famous, but rich, and can take care of me and my child. And that is really until I came to Christ.
Yeah.
I realized that the things that I've been exposed to sexually, culturally, it's definitely a way. The word of God says, wide is the way to destruction. I was going to destruction, and I was going to achieve all of these career goals, and thinking I'm it, and I'm going straight to hell. So to answer your question, the truth is I could not have found royal reality outside of Christ.
Okay.
If you don't know Jesus Christ, you'll be going after all of these dreams, and the truth is you don't realize how filthy you are as a person, because I thought I was a decent girl. Decent. Put on your clothes, decent girl. Your work, decent girl.
Right.
Everybody will say, oh, you get a girl, and you come from the ghetto. Wow, and they see you in these nice clothes, and you're driving, and you're all of these things, but not realizing royal reality came through my identity in Christ. So to answer your question, first and foremost, I was motivated because I think I just didn't want that life for myself. I didn't want it for my siblings, and I didn't want it for my child or children to come. So I was motivated by that. But then I don't think outside of Christ, I could be living a royal reality. I would just be doing the things of the world, and whether we want to accept it or not, the things of the world will lead you to destruction.
Wow. I remember reading a post that you had put up about, you had put up about the whole sexual promiscuity, abuse, and even moving to having to do a DNA for your daughter. I thought that post was so touching. But I mean, for you at that time, what was going through your mind though? I mean, yes, I know you said earlier that, it was just a way of how things were, but somehow there must have been, especially when it came to that point of between the abuse and having to do that DNA. What went through your mind?
I think for me, when it comes down to the abuse, I was abused at a young age. I didn't take it on like I see some women. I'm not saying abuse is not bad or anything, but I never take it on like, oh, it's my fault or this is the end of my life. At 16, one of the things I got pregnant at 16, so I had to do an abortion, and that was that was another thing that before Christ I would not have been able to say that. Fast forward to getting pregnant in church, and then the father of the child is saying it's not his, and doing a DNA test. I think you know that they always say in the down moments of your life, the hardest moments of your life,
Yeah.
the songwriter said it was God really carrying you through. So I felt like God had forsaken me, to be honest.
Wow.
I did feel like I was trying to do the right thing, but he left. But then the truth is, at this point in my life, I realized it really was God carrying me through all of that. So there's no shame and condemnation, because the truth is, again, culturally, nothing that I done wrong. No young lady in the inner city will say, "Oh my God, she did that." No, because it's just a way of life. You do an abortion if you don't want a child. If you get sexual abuse, it's just a way of life. It really is just normal. It's probably persons that are not exposed. They would seem like, wow. Yeah. So and that's really sad for the country and sad for us, and it means that as Christians we have more work to do.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, this is Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. And indeed on set is Crystal Daye, sharing about the early years and even when she got to a teenager, getting pregnant early and having an abortion as well. And, life continued, but it was life then as it was for her. But when we come back, we're going to learn some more of this phenomenal, unique woman.
Who am I really? Choices, choices, choices. In pursuit of a career? OMG, I'm a wife. Help! I am a mother. Oh, I'm in church. When do I get to be a woman that God called me to be? Uniquely Me covers the acrobatic endeavors of every woman to balance the responsibilities of being a mother, a wife, a professional, a church leader, a friend, yet still maintain her identity. I too am a mother, a wife, a trained minister of religion, a banker, an entrepreneur trying to balance the many hats that signifies my role. My book will help motivate and empower every woman who is really unique in her own way. Grab your copy today on Amazon, because Uniquely Me is uniquely you.
Welcome back to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. On set, I have Crystal Daye with me. While we were off, we're talking about the whole matter of abortion, and yes, unfortunately, Crystal has been a victim of an abortion. Well, a victim has committed one, but Crystal, somebody listening, the church, Jamaica we've been fighting to push back the bill about legalizing abortion. What are your take on it?
All right. So firstly, let us be real. And whether we want to accept it or not, there are a lot of women that have committed abortion, and this is not a question I will ask, because I can tell you, I know many women that have 4 or 5 abortions, and they look nice in clean clothes. So and that include in the church. So let's be real about that. Another thing that I would say. The truth is, we as believers would have to definitely just pray and not just debate that it is on a spiritual basis. We have to find psychological reasons, scientific reason why this is wrong. Because the word of God says the carnal mind will never understand the things of God. So if I say to somebody that God formed this child before you or in your mother's womb, they would look at you like, what? No, it's my body, because nobody could have told me otherwise. But I believe that one of the things that as women that have committed abortions, we should be honest to say this affects us psychologically. For me personally, it has affected me as a believer to let me believe that I cannot get a good husband because I have to settle for a certain kind of man.
Wow.
It's psychological because I don't know if I can have another child. I don't know what he would think of me. And we don't address these psychological issues that we committed a crime,
Right.
It's a crime, but we don't want to talk about it.
That's it. That's why a lot of persons cover it, because we're afraid of what society will think about us. We're afraid of what a man that we would want to settle down with, what they will think about us. Especially now that we're on TV, we're running different programs. We don't want anybody to know that about us. But Crystal, what is it that has allowed you to come forth?
Jesus. Honestly, Jesus, like when I wrote my first book, Living a Royal Reality, and the Lord told me to put it in there, I was like, you know what, this Christian thing not working out. Because Jesus, I don't know if him understand some appearance are gonna kill me. When my mother find out say I got pregnant at 16, one sugar ball, and then most likely my father gonna kill me because they grew like I knew that having sex, I should wait, I should protect myself and stuff. So when it happened, there's no way I would have told my parents. So once the book was coming out, I literally told them about a week before.
Oh my
and
God.
I remember, it was really hard for them initially, but now they understand, and my father especially is very supportive of me, having that experience and able to talk somebody through it. So honestly, the only reason I can do this is because of Jesus. And I know that there's no condemnation. I know that because, again, whether we want to believe it or not, a lot of women have had 2, 3, 4, 5 abortions. It's the truth. So this is why we have to fight like women like us. And the more women come out and talk about the psychological, tell our young people that it will affect them.
Yes.
It will affect them. Single parenting is going to affect them.
Yes.
So if we don't have these conversations with them, then they are just going to do what I believe was the right thing.
We're still afraid to have those conversations. We don't want to have the sex conversations with our children. We feel, it's funny, and I'm going to just put myself out there. I've been married for 17 years, and my mother died maybe 7 years ago, and I don't remember ever having a real heart-to-heart conversation with my mother. I couldn't have a sex talk with my mother. It was just unheard of. But I mean, there are persons like you, as I said, who have come out to talk about your abuse, come out to talk about abortion, that kind of thing. Kudos to you, people like you, because it's helping. The truth is, it's helping to form our young people, or help to train them in a particular way. Giving, as a matter of fact, to giving a voice to those who've been silent for years, because we know that we have a number of persons who have been suffering in silence. And even though some might be, yes, in the inner city, there's still some uptown ones who've been suffering in silence and wondering, will anybody listen? Now, Crystal, you have done a number of things, right? So let's start with your book, because I remember how I came in contact with you is that I was looking for somebody to help me to write my book, and I didn't think there was anybody here in Jamaica. And when I was told about you, I wasn't told that you were introduced to me as not just an author, but an award-winning author. How did you do that? Because I'm sure those who are listening wants to know, and I'm sure there's somebody who wants to write your book as well.
How did I? All right. It sounds Christian, but the truth is, everything I've done since I've surrendered my life is really because of the Lord, and it's not a Christian thing. It's really the truth. No, one of the things that I didn't know back then was that when I surrendered my life to the Lord and I learned that it wasn't about me, I started to share my journey. I started to share that I was the other woman. Imagine a Christian, a nice Christian girl, telling people that for 7 years I was the other woman. That post went viral. Wow. A lot of women, married women, and a lot of women just started to. So the more my platform grew, people would always just say, "Oh, you really need to write a book. You really need to write a book." But I started because the Lord had placed it at my heart. So I say that to say that winning the award, getting an Amazon bestseller came because I had a platform.
Yes.
It wasn't a big platform, no, but it was a platform where women were looking forward to my voice.
Wow.
So for somebody that is thinking to write a book, understand that books are coming out dime a dozen. Amazon say more than 90,000 books are uploaded on Amazon on a daily basis. So it means that it's competitive. So you can't just write a book. You have to, whatever the book is about, you have to put yourself out there from now. So that person, I'm sure you have to learn that that it's not just about writing this best book. No, it's about people trusting that what I have to say is valuable, and they would only know that by putting myself out there from before. And that's really how God set me up.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think God set you up even bigger than that, because you were in your nice, good corporate job.
Yes.
As we would say here in Jamaica, your good job.
It was
and
a good job.
You get up and leave this good job to pursue your purpose. Talk with us a little about that whole get up thing and moving right along.
Boy, this is probably one of the most asked questions. How did I leave my 9 to 5 job? I did not want to leave. I was in a good job. I knew that I was going to, like, within a year time, I was going to either get a better job or get a promotion because I was positioned. I tell people I was brilliant. The truth is, I don't give myself credit, but I study a lot. I do what I need to do. So when the Lord said it was time for me to leave, I was like, another moment, like, I think Jesus is getting off. If Jesus is not getting off, I'm getting off. It's one of us. And I remember, I had the conversation with my mother. I prayed, and she said, Crystal, whatever the Lord say you need to do, you need to do. It has been a very hard transition, to be honest. It's been very hard because our education system really do train us to be employees. I know how to be a great employee. But then having a business, it means that no, I have to be an employer, I have to be a visionary, I have to do all of these things. And it has been a very hard transition. But God has been faithful.
Awesome.
God has truly been faithful. And I would say for somebody that I think right now, the girl boss, and everybody want to be a girl boss, everybody want to, and I would say be very intentional about this girl boss, because a lot of times you will see things on social. Let me give you a secret.
Yeah.
There are days I remember when I ever, like, my nice clean Crystal, my car run out of gas on the road. And nobody on Instagram would see that part.
That's the girl boss. Come
That's
on.
the girl boss. They would see the girl boss. I just met with, this big person. Just release a book. But then by the time you pay 2 bills, you don't even have gas money. And that's the truth. So don't be distracted by the things that you see people putting out there. Truly ensure that you are being grounded, and whatever business or whatever, spend time getting that mindset to know that I'm responsible for my salary. I'm responsible for probably somebody else's salary too. And it's not just about showing off and going on cruise or whatever you think entrepreneurship is about. It's a really hard decision, but it's most fulfilling if Christ says you are supposed to do it.
I'm happy. It's funny because so far, a number of persons that I've had conversations with, they have been reinforcing that yes, God has impacted you to move into that next realm, but you must put some things in place.
Yes.
Right? Be very mindful that when you leave your 9 to 5, if you have a mortgage, there's still a mortgage.
Yes.
If you have a car bill, there's still a car bill.
You have
if you have
children.
children, there's still children.
Yes.
There's still the health issues.
Yes.
There might be ailing parents.
Yes.
And then now this new business that you're venturing into, hey, that's another set of things all by itself. But you have been able to make the transition, Crystal, and I'm watching you grow. But how have you been able to do it? Do you and take it from the standpoint of do you need additional help? Just share with us the plain truth.
The truth is, I'm in a lot of debt. Leaving my job, I'm in a lot of debt. You probably should not say that on the on the air, but it's the truth. And mainly because I one of the things I would say is seek help. I'm not afraid to ask people that I believe, I admire, help me, how I can do this. 2, be a continuous learner. 3, I would say as a business owner, realize that a business is not about you.
Yes.
If you don't have, if you are not trying to solve somebody's problem, then your business will never bloom. And that's no matter how you think your idea, how is this going to benefit a client for them to be able to pay you? So I would say, it's been a very hard transition, I'm not going to lie, but it has been the most fulfilling experience of my life because I know that I'm in the will of God. And I do have big dreams, and I know that the Lord will just continue to use me, and because I'm with Him, I'm walking with Him, I know I cannot fail. I will fail things, but I'm not a failure.
Now let me just welcome everyone to Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. On set is Crystal Daye. Now Crystal, we're about to wrap up, but there is one question I want to ask, because I find that in us being Christian entrepreneurs, nobody wants to pay us. how do we deal with that? Because they're saying, oh, you're Christian. You don't need to be so expensive. And, how do you deal with that? Because I'm sure you must have come up on some of those.
For the first 2.5 years, that was it. No, I don't have that problem. I know, the first thing is just stop telling yourself that Christians don't pay. That's the first thing I had to tell myself. Christians pay because I pay, so I'm a Christian. Why? So just know that you're not called for everybody, and just know that as long as you are giving value, that believe me, people will pay you. So this mindset is just a mindset shift, and also just, I think, just come out of this poverty thing. And that is something that I'm working on, this poverty thing. Christians have to pay bills. We have to look good. I mean, we have to survive. We have children and family. And it's not just about Christianity is who I am. It's not what I do. Business is what I do. So I focus on what I do.
Oh, I like that, girl. Now, listen, I want you to, so we know about you're still doing the coaching thing, life and business. You're into publishing. And I mean, I literally celebrate every time I see you put up somebody else's book out. I go, yay! Like, literally, I'm excited about it because you're helping somebody to put their legacy out there, right? But I want you to, you have a minute, to one, talk to our audience, your persons listening, they need to tap into their royal reality. They are wondering, should I write that book? Should I start that business? What should I do? I want you to talk with them quickly and then tell them at the end, where can they find you?
All right. So I think I would admit my biggest strength is branding. I'm able to hear somebody's story and then tell them how to use that story to make money, and I never realized that it was a gift from as a child. So this is why a book is just one way that you share your story to make an income. Also, there are other ways, whether launch a business, whether become a coach, whether become a speaker, become a consultant. There are other ways, and that's what I'm positioning myself to do. Help persons that know that they want to impact lives, package themselves, package your story to make money. That's what I want to do. Probably Christians should say we want to make money, but I want to help people to make money. How can you find me? My website is www.crystaldaye.com. As Simone has been saying, I'm a social media tete, so I just find me on Instagram, Facebook, and my website. Well, God bless you.
All right, Crystal, thank you so much for coming. It's been a blessing. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to have your story aired, you can reach me 1-876-856-5769 or my social pages you'll see coming up on the screen right now. Thanks again. Remember, uniquely me is uniquely you. See you next week.